What's happened over the last 20 years is we've gone into this identity politics section of our lives or history of our human existence where Democrats all stand together, Republicans all stand together. You pick that team and you pick that team and no one crosses the aisle to actually compromise. There is no possible way you should go into Congress in your seat and be worth $500,000 and come out $100 million.
That's what you go into politics for. It's not about the people, it's about the pay.
So this is the game that Trump wants to screw up for them to benefit us. When they all line up, the media, Hollywood, and politicians against one person or one thing, you know that that thing's a threat to their game. And in this instance, it's Trump.
It's not about what color you are. It's just about what political side you're on. I know some Democrats that don't even want to say hi to a Republican and vice versa. And if you go through life missing out on great people because you're prejudging them on their political views, we're missing out.
The people are the power only when we can agree. And so they will do everything in their power to divide us on social issues.
That's so true. Yeah, and it starts, man, the man in the mirror. Be kind to others. That's the number one thing. You don't have to be a doctor, you don't have to be a lawyer, but just be kind to others and everything else should fall in place.
This is Sparta!
Welcome back to Spartan Leadership. I'm your host, Josh Kosnick, and we got the greatest man alive with me today in the studio, Emmanuel Whitfield.
That's right.
What's happening, man?
Man, cold, snow.
It is. We got the heaters going on in the studio today. I got my ugly shoes on, my hunting pants.
Got the rabbit going.
Oh, we're not going to get down that. Yeah, the air rabbit for our cigar smoke today. But as always, if this is your first time tuning in, we have two different formats for the show. One is normal interview style, where I am interviewing a leader in the community, leader in the country, leader in business, bringing you that heat, that impact so that you can grow personally, professionally, in all areas of your life. And secondly, like we're doing today, we are bringing the Leadership in Review. And typically we're talking through, like we would in a cigar lounge, some political, some geopolitical, some leadership in the community. We got a little bit of all today because we're going to talk about UW Wisconsin. We're going to talk about the primaries.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about division in America, that continuing on our theme there.
A little bit of immigration.
A little bit of immigration and Epstein Island.
There you go.
So, with that being said, we always start this show with what are we smoking?
And you know, I don't know what I'm smoking. This could be peyote. I don't know what I'm smoking.
Peyote? Yeah. That's a town in Wisconsin.
I like that little town. It's nice.
Yeah, it's a nice little town. They got the schoolhouse. We did my oldest daughter's first birthday there.
I like it.
First birthday party there. Not peyote. Peyote and paoli, two different things.
Hey, that's why I went to the UW.
No, I gave E a Don Carlos Personal Reserve. So it's a Fuente. One of my favorite all-time cigars. How you like it?
It's pretty good. Sounds like an old mob boss, a Don Carlos.
It is, yeah. The Fuente family is old mobsters from Dominican. Anyhow, and I actually got an Opus X Angel Share. Very good cigar as well. Both from the same
crime family.
Same crime family, the Fuente family. That's right. All right, getting into it. Topic number one today is we're going to talk through the primaries a little bit. As of this recording, Iowa and New Hampshire has taken place. This recording will probably come out about a month from now, but Iowa and New Hampshire has taken place. Trump whooped everyone's ass in both states.
Yeah,
Were you surprised?
Nope.
I mean, you can't, if you're not watching on video, he's grinning from ear to ear right now.
I love it.
Because he's been on the Trump bandwagon for a long time.
That's right.
Again, for those, if this is your first time listening, Trump has not been my guy. I haven't been convinced by all of them. So here's what I'll say for those that may be tuning in for the first time. My wife, both huge Trump fans. I think there's some questionable leadership decisions and leadership personality traits, me being a leadership coach, that I just haven't been down with. That being said, I do think he's the best man for the job right now.
And I can agree with you on some of the decision making. Some of the people he put on his cabinet haven't been the greatest choices. Look at Nikki Haley. Look at John Bolton.
Chris Christie.
Yeah, 90% of the people but I think he learned from his first rodeo.
Well, yeah, he didn't know who to trust up there at all.
Exactly.
Now you know who to trust and definitely who not to trust. Krispy Kreme.
Krispy Kreme.
But that being said, what's your take on how the primaries have gone so far?
I think the only shocker was that he whooped up on a Democrat in a Republican primary. So Nikki Haley's basically a Democrat. And the thing about that is to see how desperate Democrats are. And I'm no big fan of the Republican Party, but to see how desperate, at least the Republicans won't go out in the cold. They let the record reflect. They will go vote on policies. A lot of them will. But now I'm seeing some Republicans vote on how the message lands on them. The messenger. Oh, Nikki Haley sounds professional. She sounds good, but they're not looking at her track record. But you don't see Republicans really crossing over to try to go vote for a Democrat to knock off Joe Biden. They could care less.
That's a super interesting point because I want to make sure everyone understand what you're just saying there.
Yeah.
Is Nikki Haley is a plant in a lot of people's eyes.
Yeah.
By the Democrat, and let's not even say the Democrat Party, the establishment.
Mm-hmm.
The Uniparty has planted her and is bankrolling her.
Oh my God, big time.
So between her and DeSantis in Iowa, I want to say there was $250 million pumped in for her from establishment.
Yeah.
That's not just Republican. And so to E's point here, Nikki Haley has, in New Hampshire, it came out that 70% of the votes she got, 70% of the votes she got were new registered Republicans or switched parties.
A couple independents, but mainly Democrats switching parties
to vote in the primary, which is so that's what's crazy.
So rare.
I did not I have never once considered, and now I'm an independent, but I never once, and I have not heard any Republican friend
to vote for
say that they were going to go vote in a Democrat party.
Yeah, they don't do that.
In a Democrat primary, I should say, to try and get a more palatable person in the seat.
It's just insanity to me. It's just insane, the desperation, because they have nothing to run on. They're not enthused by Joe Biden's record or what he does for this country. It's just Trump derangement syndrome, and it's going to backfire on a lot of people. It's really going to backfire on a lot of people. You see the black community, that first rodeo, that first go around, they went on emotions and stuff like that. And look what they got. Biden delivered a bunch of misery, a bunch of high gas prices, 3 wars, and
inflation up the
division
wazoo, and immigration up the wazoo.
It's just crazy. It's chaotic right now.
So he has the lowest rating. Was it likability? No, it's not likability. Popularity? Is that what it's
popularity.
Called? Popularity, standing or whatever of an incumbent going into an election year.
Yeah.
I think in history.
It is in history. It's in history.
You need to really like that, bro.
Yeah, but it's just bad.
Don't let that good cigar go to waste.
No, I'm not going to let this crime family cigar go to waste.
But it is really interesting the times that we're in. There's not anyone that really likes Biden. There's no enthusiasm there. So it goes to what I've been saying the whole time, that he's not going to be the guy.
This is the part that gets me the most, Josh. People really think it's a Republican and a Democratic party. You've always said it's a uniparty. And until you can understand what Josh is talking about, just think about the big money players, the military industrial complex, big pharma, the people that love Nikki Haley. And you see so many Republicans that don't want Trump. You see so many Democrats that don't want Trump. It's stopping that money train. And just think about this.
To who though? Who's the elite, the money train?
The
right?
money train
elites.
goes to the
That's
elite,
right.
and us peasants, we're fighting amongst each other. I just thought about this the other day. If you were in the NBA or in the NFL, any professional sport, right, you can't bet on it. because you can change the outcome of a game. But in politics, you can make the laws and you can invest in something that you know that's coming down the pipe. It's basically fixing. So if I know this drug is going to get the okay to become on the market, I can go put money in that.
Yep.
It's basically inside trading, it's cheating, and it's perfectly legal for politicians. But if you did that, if you knew I could fix a game and we're going to lose and I can bet $1 million on the Chiefs beating the Baltimore Ravens and I can have an effect on that, you'll be going to jail.
You'd be going to jail. A referee.
But in politics, you can cheat all day
and a player
and get rich.
Actually, and players like Calvin Ridley got banned for a year for betting not on his own games but on others.
Opposition teams.
Opposing
teams.
No,
not even on his opposing team. A different game.
A game happening way across the country.
Yeah.
He has no effect.
You can't even bet on soccer in Europe, So,
but that's an interesting point because me and my financial background with the licenses that I held, let's say I wanted to invest in Facebook and that IPO happened way back when. Let's say a decade ago. I can't remember the exact
Tell
year.
them what an IPO is. That sounds like a beer.
Initial IPA. IPA and IPO are close, but they're two different things. Initial public offering.
Oh, okay.
So when Facebook wanted to go public and says they're going to offer shares at this price and it's initial public offering, because of my financial licenses,
you couldn't even get in when it's public?
I couldn't get in on the initial public offering. I had to wait till after that if I wanted to buy that stock.
Wow. So they're really like...
That being said, a politician who had control over markets or inside information, anything like that, they can do whatever the fuck they want.
Even changing laws and like knowing that this drug is going to be approved, like the jab. They knew it was going to be approved, so they just early put your money in there.
Moderna, Pfizer, And Pelosi started getting called out on this in 2014. There is no possible way you should go into Congress in your seat and be worth $500,000 and come out $100 millionaire.
Yeah, look at
which is what Pelosi's family has done.
I look at Maxine Waters, never worked in her life, Claiborne, and all of these people who just been in Congress with these little mediocre salaries, and now they're all millionaires. All of them. That's what you go into politics for. It's not about the people; it's about the pay. So.
And it's backdoor dealings, and so this is the game that Trump wants to screw up for them to benefit us,
not the Democrats or Republicans, for them. The uniparty. And that's why he's hated. So you think about this, you go back it's actually pretty interesting because you and I are both hip hop heads. Trump was in like every song. Oh my God. Everyone loved him.
He was an idol.
Everyone loved him.
He was an idol all the way up until, so think about this, through all that time frame, he didn't have dirt on him. He didn't have people speaking badly on him. Because he was donating to the Democrat Party.
He got an award from the NAACP.
He got an award. He funded both of Reverend Jackson's presidential runs.
Yeah.
So it's just fast. And then the moment he runs as a Republican and starts calling out the establishment, starts calling out the tax benefits that not only is he getting, but every donor is getting. And that's why he called Hillary out and said, bet you won't change the law. Why you haven't changed the law all those years that you're there? Because all your friends, all your donors get
their buddies,
So that's the thing he started calling out. That is the reason he got hated. That is the reason they call him a racist. That is the reason they call him a bigot. That is the reason they call him a rapist. That is the reason they're trying to illegally get him off the ballots of everything. Is because he's trying to change the game for the benefit of us. And you have been told to hate him.
They don't know any better, though.
But you've been brainwashed. Every single thing. Actually, I was just watching this comic, Jim Brewer. He talked about Trump derangement syndrome and all the how crazy people sound when they speak about him.
Yeah.
They can't even say his name. It's actually a really funny bit. But really, like, you get up to go to the bathroom and on the TV is Trump is a racist, Trump is this, Trump is that. Like, they literally beat it into your head.
Yeah.
So you got to understand the game. Again, is he a perfect candidate? Hell no. There aren't, by the way, newsflash, there are no perfect candidates. Because there are no perfect people. So we got to stop expecting that of our candidates.
Trump is the best we've had. The brainwashing is, they're good at what they do. And they're really good at what they do. I mean, could you imagine if you were Jewish and the guy did everything for you, he was down for Israel or whatever, and the media said this guy represents Hitler, a Jewish person won't go out and vote for him, you know, because they have brainwashed people to feel like this guy is like Hitler. But it's the same thing with Trump, you know. Trump isn't the one that's a racist. It's Joe Biden. And then let the record reflect that it is Joe Biden who wrote the 94 crime bill. It is Joe Biden who said he didn't want his kids to go to school in a racial jungle. It is Joe Biden who showered with his 11-year-old daughter. It's Joe Biden who wrote put laws into effect with Strom Thurmond, Dennis Byrd, Jesse Helms. Dennis Byrd was a KKK member. If the shoe was on the other foot, it wouldn't be nothing.
Wizard. He wasn't just a KKK member.
He was a grand wizard. And this guy was speaking at these people's eulogies. If this was Donald Trump with that type of dirt on his name, the media would never stop saying it. Piers Morgan took Charlemagne to God. He's a radio guy, big time black radio guy. And Piers Morgan
was also bought and paid for.
Yeah, and Piers Morgan took him to task on his own show. Like he said, if I was to tell you the numbers of people deported by Donald Trump, you wouldn't even know it, but you will never know the number that Obama did, because Obama deported more people than anyone in the history of the United States. But they don't want to know the numbers of what Obama did. People don't want to know anything that Obama did. More drone strikes than who? Anyone? How many wars did he start? But black people and everybody, oh, Obama was so great. He started 7 wars. How many did Trump start? Zero.
And again, Trump wasn't perfect either, because he was doing drone strikes as well. Mm-hmm. So, but less than Obama.
Yeah.
And so
he was the lesser of two evils on that.
So it's interesting. Again, not perfect, but again, he's calling out the people that need to be called out. The establishment needs to be called out. Vivek did a great job of that too while he was in the primaries, because he called out the media. He's like, look, the Democrats would never have Fox News host a primary debate.
That's true.
But the Republicans had very left-leaning people that had lied about Trump for years hosting the Republican debate. So it's really a fascinating, once your eyes are open, and this is part of the reason that E and I do what we're doing and talking about this like we would in a cigar lounge, is trying to get your eyes to open to their game. Because once you see their game and the game that they've been playing on us for decades, light bulbs just start flashing. Like when I introduced you, telling you that Fox News was controlled opposition.
I thought you were crazy
because
day.
You respected Fox News for a while, but then all of a sudden Tucker's gone, and you're like, light bulb. Yep. You're like, oh man.
Yeah, it hit me like a 2x4. I was like, Josh was so right about this. Yeah.
We got controlled opposition. Like they place it strategically, but they play for the same team. And so here's where, when they all line up, the media, Hollywood, and politicians against one person or one thing, that thing's a threat to their game. And in this instance, it's Trump. So they're doing everything possible, legally, illegally, otherwise, to get him off the ballot and to not allow him to be president again, because he knows the jig will be up if he's president again. So there's even people out there like Alex Jones saying that they'll try and kill him before this. What I think is more likely to happen, which I've been talking about all the way along over the last 6 months, is that they'll run Michelle Obama or Gavin Newsom or something like that. But it's becoming more and more likely, just like the episode we released this past month with Corey and me and you and PJ about the division, is they'll continue to push racial division and then run Michelle.
Oh, yeah.
They'll say Biden has to get out because of health or because the Hunter thing sprung up again or whatever it may be. And then, boop, bring in the black lady.
And a lot of people don't really realize, it's not really going to hurt me or you, whoever's going to be president. We just want to do it for the greater good of mankind. But all of these blind voters who vote on emotions, it's like hell with the policy. It's the messenger. It's how you say it to people. Oh, Nikki Haley sounds right. Not knowing she's a warmonger. She's bought by the military industrial complex. She's bought by big pharma. She is not a war that she doesn't like.
She has no response.
Yeah.
You can see. So it's crazy. If you study humans at all and understand body language, the time she got called out by Vivek or Christie or DeSantis, you could see all on her face. She is full of shit. Yeah. She is like circling in her head, like, line, please, Line, please. Like, tell me the line because I got no response because I'm caught.
Look at her. Look at her donors. Some of her, the biggest donor in her campaign is a Democrat. That just says it all. It says it all. She's a team player like 99% of all politicians. And that's the thing about, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, but you can never find a Democrat. If you ask a Democrat, name a couple Democrats you don't like. There's not a Democrat they don't like. They don't even know half of their policies. You know, Democrats, they just fit. They're like a herd of sheep.
You know what a Democrat they won't like? When one steps off the plantation.
Yeah. When one steps off the plantation.
When one goes against the narrative, which is what, by the way, remember people, it's what we're supposed to do. That is actually the function of what our Congress is supposed to do is cross the aisle, build a bridge, and do it through compromise. What's happened over the last 20 years is we've gone into this identity politics section of our lives or history of our human existence where Democrats all stand together, Republicans all stand together, and you pick that team and you pick that team and no one crosses the aisle to actually compromise.
Yeah.
That means we, the people, lose. Do you not get that?
Yeah.
We lose. So your team may win this year because you win all Democrat, and then their team may win all the next year, and the people lose.
Yeah. And I think another thing is like when people watch this podcast, it's not us coming in here to bash Democrats or just to bash Republicans, because there's a lot of Republicans that are horrible and there's a lot of Democrats that are horrible. We really want better for America. You know, if you're a Democrat and you have some good ideas, I'm not going to say, I'm just going to hate it because it's a Democrat. Maybe climate change is real. I have no gripes about that. If we can make the climate better, and this abortion thing, just because I'm against abortion, I am abortion tolerant. If that's what you want to do with your body, I'm not going to say I can control you. But when you get on a side saying you have to take this vaccine and you start losing your moral compass and your civil liberties and the ACLU start being on the side of wrong instead of fighting for human rights, that's when you're messed up. When you can start looking at someone because they're an opposing side on the policy side or political side, and you can say, I want that person to go to jail just because they're a Republican or a Democrat. You need to look in the mirror, because I look at like the puff daddies of the world who rooted for all of this illegal arrest of Donald Trump, and those same laws that they rooted for came back to haunt them with these changing the rules of statute of limitation, and it came back to haunt them. Look at Fannie Willis over in Atlanta. You want to get Trump with this fake trial, a RICO case, because he said, go find me the votes. He didn't say go make up and fabricate the votes. He said, go find me the votes, which is okay. He said, go find the votes. And she want to hit this man with a RICO act, but whoa, poetic justice. Look, she could be hit with the same charges. That's what happened. God don't like ugly.
Her attorney that was her boyfriend?
Yeah.
That met 2 times in the White House with Biden?
And Biden want to act like he has his hands are clean of the dirt. See, that's dirty, man. That's dirty as it gets. And you got people rooting for that. I would never want to see someone prosecuted for a crime they didn't commit. But there's a lot of people on that Democratic side who are banking on that because they're scared of Donald Trump policies. I don't care if America elects Joe Biden again. Oh, well, if it's legitimate, more power to you. You have to live with that.
If it's legitimate.
Yeah, I was happy under Trump's presidency. So we'll see what happens.
Prices were better.
Oh yeah,
everything was better.
No wars. Everything was better.
We actually had oil.
Yeah, we had a surplus.
We actually had peace in the Middle East.
And you could go to the grocery store with a couple $100 and be able to feed a family. You can't buy anything at the grocery store right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy. So I want to move to the division piece that we got to talk a lot about with Corey and PJ last month. I hope you all enjoyed that episode. We had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, it was a good one.
But I want to focus on this because I think that they're going to push the division as much as possible. You got to remember, the people are the power only when we can agree. Okay? As long as we're divided, they can do whatever they want. They retain all the power. That's what you have to remember. And so they will do everything in their power to divide us on social issues.
Oh yeah.
Whether that be abortion, whether that be
voter suppression, voter rights. Like blacks can't get IDs. Blacks are too poor to get the internet.
Hey, how'd you figure out how to get an ID?
Joe Biden had to go march in Selma so I could get an ID.
No, real talk. As a black American,
I'm not supposed to have an ID.
I know, but aren't you too stupid to get an ID?
That's what they tell me, And you have college students who feed into that. They really believe that. Wow, these poor blacks can't get an ID, but all the blacks I know got the newest Jordans that cost a couple $100. And I'm not saying all blacks got that, but where I'm from, you have to have the nice shoes. You try to bring one of these high schoolers the old iPhone, they're gonna look at you like you crazy. They're gonna be like, I need the 15 Pro, So all of this crap about voter suppression, I guarantee you, like I always say, when you start letting people cash checks without IDs, we can start talking about voter suppression. Those liberals don't want that. No, you have to have an ID to cash a check. What if you found my checkbook and drained my bank account? You'll never hear them say that. If a person can vote without an ID, let's let people go straight to the bank and cash a check without an ID. It's a whole different story. Let people drive around without an ID.
Don't you speak so much sense to people?
It's true.
But I was just wondering how you got an ID because all my white liberal friends tell me that you're too stupid.
I can't have an ID.
You're too helpless.
Yeah. So.
Oh man. So just recall on that. So here's what I want to point out as well. There is I don't have the numbers on this. There's got to be some numbers out there, but there is huge money also in keeping us divided, in pushing DE&I. Now, the concept of diversity, equity, and inclusion I think the spirit of it is good. How it is done has divided us even further.
Yeah.
And so I kept my phone out on this episode for a specific reason, because I wanted to point out something locally that's actually just infuriated me. All right. So I'm going to read this. This is our local esteemed.
And this is for who are they mandating this for?
This is Wisconsin Law School.
Wow.
University of Wisconsin Law School, our Badgers, has an annual mandatory DE&I reorientation. Okay, it's not an orientation, it's a reorientation. Okay. Students are given a reading packet explaining how blacks can't be racist. Do you know that? You can't be racist.
Let me add to this one thing. They said blacks can't be racist.
Yeah.
These are the same people pushing for hate crimes. So if a black man goes out to a Jewish synagogue, kill all of them, don't charge him with a hate crime because why?
Well, because he's black.
And he can't be what?
Racist.
Okay, you can't knock that off the books then. Blacks can't be racist. You should never charge a black person with a hate crime, because hate crimes has to do with prejudice and being racist.
First of all people can be racist.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's hypocrisy, talking about blacks can't be racist. Anyone can be racist.
But look at this. It goes on to say, so students are given a reading packet explaining how blacks can't be racist and are all oppressed. And that it's racist for a white person to deny that they are racist. Okay. They also have a race timeline worksheet to have students document all the race-related events in their life. I'm sure that's just a productive activity. So imagine going into hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt to be taught you're an oppressor or oppressed.
That's almost funny, because they're saying blacks can't be racist. So if a black dude jump up to one of these college students and say, I want to kill all you crackers, they just gonna say, he's talking about soup.
Well, it's because he's oppressed. It's because he's oppressed that he can't be racist, and so he can just kill a bunch of white crackers,
Yeah, they weren't saying all that stuff when they were giving out these goddamn football numbers and prison sentences to blacks and stuff like that. You didn't hear that type of compassion or none of that during the 94 crime bill, giving young men 20, 30 fucking years in jail. But now all of a sudden, everything's about oppression. It's all to manipulate and prey on, pull at your heartstrings for votes, because blacks will feed into that and say, and then they start thinking that. And then when you start feeling like you're oppressed, that means you're controlled. You don't want to get out and pull yourself up by the bootstraps. And there you go. They're giving out crutches instead of fuel once again.
Well, isn't that what they want?
That's exactly what they want.
So again, for anyone listening to this, they'll be like, well, Josh, I may agree with what UW is saying. Okay. But what they're truly saying and doing then is that you, by birth, by the pigment of your skin, are automatically oppressed.
You can't achieve anything.
You can't achieve what a white person or what an Asian person can achieve.
And you can kind of tell the people that it works on. All my daughters went to college. I could not imagine waking up telling my daughters, don't even try to get straight A's because the white man's going to hold you down. You're oppressed. You can't do anything. You're not going to be able to get an ID. You're not going to be able to read and write. You know, that's just such a stagnant thing to tell a child. And it's just giving out crutches, you know, and I don't believe in giving out crutches. I believe in giving out fuel. That's why my daughter's got one of the best kids books. If you're out there, go pick up Flying with Skylar on Amazon. And, you know, the American dream is here. It's here. And if Hispanics listen to this crap the way that the black community does, they wouldn't be thriving the way they are. I drive down my old neighborhood, Park Street. White America's in for a rude awakening because Hispanics have earplugs in when you try to tell them that crap. I go down my old neighborhood down Park Street. It's 60% Hispanic owned businesses, and they're not looking for nobody crutches.
They're not looking for handouts.
They don't speak that language.
They'll pay all cash.
They don't speak that language.
And the if you look at the studies, most of the Asian Americans make more than the white Americans by populace in America right now. But let me go on here because this actually gets a little bit more funny. So let's first define racism with this formula. Racism equals racial prejudice plus systemic institutional power. To say people of color can be racist denies the power imbalance inherent in racism. Certainly people of color can be and are prejudiced against white people. That was a part of the societal conditioning. So just so you know, not only were you oppressed, but you were conditioned to oppress us back. So that just to be clear. So people of color as a social group do not have the societal institutional power to oppress white people as a group. Okay.
And we're not bashing everything that these people are like studying and stuff like that because America's not squeaky clean.
No.
We have had our problems, but some of this stuff about saying that people can't be, anyone can be racist, you know?
There's still a lot of countries that are way worse than us in this.
Yeah.
So this form of denial is based on the false notion that the playing field is now level when the people with privilege, historical access, and advantage are expected to suddenly share some of that power. It is often perceived as discrimination. So it says, don't blame me. These are statements now. Often white people now. So again, they're just dividing like by skin color instead of just saying Americans. Often white people hear blame whenever the issue of racism is brought up, whether or not blame has been placed on whites. So don't blame me. I never owned slaves, or I didn't vote for David Duke, or none of my family joined the Klan, or I taught my children that racism is wrong. So like, again, for trying to be a good person, like either way, you're going to be you're a racist. You're automatically a racist and you're an oppressor. And you, because of the pigment of your skin, are automatically oppressed, a victim, and can't do shit.
You can't fault people for their father's sins. You know, I judge a person by their actions, and you know, you can't go back in time and punish someone for what their ancestors did, you know. And like I say, this isn't a ski. I mean, there are some unlevel playing fields in life. And, you know, and if we come together to try to get to the bottom of it and fix the problems, that's fine. But just generally saying that you're oppressed and every fault is the white man's fault or your slave master's fault, we're way beyond those days.
But hold on, let's talk about this though. So whether it's reparations or whether it's special privileges, who can get into school? Who can get into the University of Wisconsin based on the color of their skin?
Minorities, affirmative action, you know.
And who can get special loans based on the color of their skin?
I haven't really I know they have certain minority loans, but I haven't dove into that because that could be a double-edged sword, because I hear some people say they're not as easy as they're, you know, that'd be something. I financially, I can't speak on that because I don't know the loan situation with the banks and stuff like that, because there is some redlining with that. So I can't just jump on that horse right there. So until I learn more about it.
Go check it out. But but bottom line is there are special loans that you can get as female and or minority, not just to college, but also in business.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that. I've heard of that.
So the SBA loans, there's women's special loans for business owners, stuff of that nature. Better interest rates and better privileges as far as like what you don't need to have as much to your name or on your credit or whatever it might be. So, but bottom line is there's already systems in play that are kind of trying to reverse the trend that's been there to try and get. So like in University of Wisconsin-Madison as a whole is actually really interesting that this comes up for this school and this topic because this has been going on for 30 years. At least so like when I was going to like my friends, and I wasn't that good of a student, so I can admit this, but my friends that were good students, that were white, that were from Madison, that wanted to go to UW-Madison, had a harder time getting in than A minority or B out of state. Because Madison is a business. These universities are businesses. So they will take that out of state money. So that, say a kid from New York that's got a 3.8, they'll accept him over a kid from Madison with a 4.0. And let's say everything else is the same. And the reason they do that is because they get double the money from the New York kid than they do from the local kid. So a white kid here does not have the privileges that many others do to get into the University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Out of state tuition. This is my biggest gripe though. Like that whole study right there, you hear all they keep saying, it's like smoke and mirrors. These people who act like they're helping the problem, they're saying, wink, wink, I'm going to make you a victim. I'm going to keep you down. Because all of that whole report, what's the one thing you didn't hear? You never heard these people say, instead of feeling like a victim, hey, here's how you get financially literate. They will never tell you that. Here's these small business loans. Instead of crying about what you can't do, here's what you can do. You will never hear that. See, I don't know about these small business loans for minorities. They're not going to tell me because they want to keep you over there as a victim. Because if they tell you about these loans and how to get ahead in life, then it's going to be competition within, the communities or whatever.
Grants, there's loans.
They don't want you to know that.
For minorities all over the place.
They don't want that.
They don't want you to know that. And for veterans as well. So it's fascinating. This goes to my point. This is a big business, this DE&I thing. Mm-hmm. There is a lot of money in this DE&I push to keep us separate. So DE&I has now become its own like category of capitalism.
Yeah.
And so now you have all these companies that are making money. So if all of a sudden we just started treating each other like human beings. And not seeing pigmentation of our skin, that we're just Americans, all this business to this DE&I sector goes away. People don't, messaging goes away, right?
They don't understand that either though, Josh.
But then the money can get redirected to something that's more beneficial to all of us as a society, more productive to
all of us. They don't want it.
But that's the big dark dirty secret that no one wants to talk about is this has become a part of our capitalist society now, and it's this big business, and there's specifically companies and people that are trying to keep us separate because they're trying to keep their paychecks or make a lot of bank on us.
That's their job security.
Essentially hating each other.
Their job security. And a lot of people, like if we're talking over your head, this is the way I can break it down. Say you were a diabetic and you have to depend on metformin. That's a medicine from a pharmaceutical company. Guaranteed money. Say you can get the same effect or you can get a cure from lemon, cayenne pepper, and cinnamon. Natural herbs. That's dirt cheap. They will never tell you this natural remedy because it'll take away from Big Pharma's pocket. Yep. And this keeping people on these racial plantations, that's job security. They don't want you to learn how to have independence. It's the same thing with pharmaceutical companies. If you could find a cure for something that costs $4 and they're getting $400 a pill, they're going to say, if you found the real cure, they'll be like, no, don't trust that real cure. There's so many health risks from lemon and cinnamon and cayenne pepper. Yep. It's the same thing. Everything in life, it's all about job security and keep people dumbed down.
But that's what we're here for, is to start waking you up to some of their game.
Yeah, minorities, you better go check into some of them minority loans. I'm going to check into some. I'm going to be the biggest black man in line. I'm getting mine.
You got to have the business. You got to have the business plan and idea too.
That's what me and you going to talk about when we get off camera. We're going to write something up.
And so just a couple other headlines that I pulled to drill this point home. All right, ESPN. CJ Stroud and D'Amico Ryans are the 6th black head coach starting QB pair to appear in a playoff game.
Oh, well.
6th. Not the first. Why are we counting? What number do we count to?
Yeah, I don't know about. Yeah, that's.
But why is that a thing? I understand the first why that's a thing. But why are we out here at 6? It's like they have to continue making it a thing.
Yeah.
To drive this narrative, to prop up this profit.
Yeah.
So that was just another.
They got to keep race in the headlines. I mean, because race is sexy in the headlines, you know, and
then here's what happens.
Gets clicks.
Here's what happens for all of you that didn't see this. In New York City, a police officer was driven over by a young black woman. I'll read the headline or read the short blurb to you guys. New York City driver intentionally plows her car into NYPD officer, telling authorities she wanted to teach him a quote-unquote lesson. This is what happens when you convince people that cops are the enemy. Okay? So Sahara Dula, who is a criminal justice graduate, was driving the wrong way when a police officer confronted her. And then this is a direct quote from her. I told the cop I wanted to go straight and he wouldn't move, so I hit him. I did it on purpose. Fuck these cops. He wouldn't move. Fuck these cops. It's a lesson to him and hopefully he doesn't want to be a cop anymore.
That's, it's not sexy enough though. Now, if you change her with a Trump voter that hit a cop, oh man, people would be up in arms. But she's a minority. She can't be racist.
Yeah.
She can hit cops, you know.
And she wasn't charged with attempted murder either, while the cops laid up with a broken leg.
No, because she didn't have a MAGA hat on. She'd have had the MAGA hat on. She could have bumped that cop. It'd have been over with. So this is the world we live in right now.
So I hope everyone took away the leadership that we need is to unify, is to stop seeing color, essentially. It's like, or not seeing color. Like I know that like a lot of people try and say that like, oh, I don't see color. No, the fact of the matter is we're American. Like I can see you're black and you can see I'm white.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is we can't control what we were born with.
No.
Like, you know, you can't control that you got dark brown eyes and I got these beautiful hazel eyes.
Who said you had beautiful hazel eyes?
Man.
I got beautiful brown eyes.
So, you know, that's the thing though, is we got to stop. We got to get past the stupid point where people are driving capitalism, driving money, billions of dollars to this DE&I initiative. Okay, again, the principle of it, the spirit of it wasn't bad. The bastardization of it and what it's come to and the division that it's causing in our country and the stupid shit that UW Law School just put out, that's bad.
It is bad, man. And we're the only ones losing out. People don't realize how much you lose out on beautiful souls. It's all about the interior, not the exterior. Democrats and Republicans are looking at each other like the same way it was with the Jim Crow days. It's not about what color you are. It's just about what political side you're on. I know some Democrats that don't even want to say hi to a Republican and vice versa. And if you go through life missing out on great people because you're prejudging them on their political views, we're missing out, man. I got friends. I don't care if you're Republican, Hindu, Muslim, Luke Skywalker, Jedi, Ewoks, Yoda. I don't care who you are. I love people, and that's why I go to the cigar bar. I have a melting pot group of friends, and we leave the politics at the door. You got rich guys, poor guys, you got janitors, but man, you can have the best conversation. You can build the best friendship with anyone. And you know, we have to be kinder to people with mental issues. I really like, seriously, I'm a great dude. And I know I say that brashly, but I love everyone. I love sitting down.
But anyone that knows you would know this.
Yeah, right? I love people. I love people, man. Different languages, different ethnic groups. I take time out to talk to the handicapped, or somebody may have Down syndrome, or somebody may be severely depressed. My line is always open. And I think the world needs some healing, man. We need better people.
Well, you need better leaders. And that's the point of the leadership and review. And that's why we talk about this controversial and contentious topics, because we need better leaders. And that's, again, where I think Trump could do a lot better, is he needs to unify.
Yeah.
He already knows the world's against it. That's the stuff my wife says, like, how would you react if everyone was attacking you? I'm like, I get it. I totally get the point, and I totally get how he might feel like that. At the same time, a leader has to rise above.
He needs to learn how to explain a little better. I think his vindictive side gets the best of him. That competitive side gets the best of him. And just having the wrong people in his corner. Like when you have a big brother, he'll pull you to the side, and you may be straying down the road with some bullies or something. Your big brother pull you to the side. Hey, listen, that's not the way to go. We're healers around here. And he didn't have anyone to reel him in, like Kushner and his daughter. If I was his son, I'd be like, hey, Pops, listen, you have to beat people to the punch sometime. It's strategic. He doesn't know how to play chess. None of the people
he knows
around.
how to play chess.
No, if you know how to play chess, this is what I mean. With a Vivek, I can't say his name. When you got the right person, you don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. Like when he had that interview with Chris Wallace, he was supposed to come right out and say, let's get the monkey out of the room. Let's get the elephant off the wall. No, I'm not down for any racist groups. And that question would have been gone, where they can't get you with a gotcha. And another thing.
So Vivek did that brilliantly. Trump could learn from Vivek.
Yeah, he can learn from him. And another thing, like if Trump had me in his corner, when Joe Biden didn't go to Palestine, Ohio, I would have told me and Trump, we would have took a trip down there to let the people know I'm a way better man. He doesn't have time for you, but I have time for you. Now, what would that have cost Trump to go down there? When those places burnt down in Hawaii, why didn't Trump beat him to the punch? You go to Hawaii, you let the people know when they can't stand for you, I will stand for you. You beat a person. That's a chess move.
Yeah. No, I agree. I just don't know. I know that there's a lot that he knows that we don't.
Yeah, it's true. But it's at the same time, when you live in a bubble, you forget what the world is going on around you. If there's a kid, listen, if I'm going against you and then they said this school can't feed the kids, I'm not going to sit back and not feed the kids. I'm going to make you look dumb. I'm going to feed those kids on TV and say, he would not come feed you.
And then
I will come feed you.
See, he had to do it for the cameras, right?
I wouldn't care.
I know. I
wouldn't care.
But I'm just saying that's how they'd spin it.
But see, that's how you beat them to the punch. What did you just say? I'm here. I know these jerks are going to try to say I'm doing it for the camera. That's playing chess right there.
Yep. No, I actually agree with you. And I think all politicians, instead of having these law grads as clerks and aides, they need to have some people from the streets that actually because these people
been in a bubble their whole life. They don't know what ordinary people are doing because they live in this elite world. Like you say, go get a little bit. That would be like me trying to go to Mexico and I don't know anything about Mexico and try to translate and tell people what's going on around here. I don't know where these guava plants and how they make tequila.
All right, Trump, you heard it. You need to get E in your cabinet.
He really do. I'd help him out. That's my man. I'd have him in the hood. Black people, they already like Donald Trump, but with me, man, I bring Trump in with a gold necklace. We make a rap song. It'd be on and popping.
All right, man, let's switch topics. There's one hot topic that the media tries and tries and tries to ignore. And it's becoming harder and harder to ignore, and that's the Epstein case. The Epstein files are being released slowly but surely, and hopefully by the time this airs, there'll be some clarity on it. But I have very little hope. But here's the deal. So whether or not you've heard of Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, and Epstein Island, what I don't think that most of you know is that he was controlled. He was a CIA asset, and allegedly.
And he was black. He was controlling other people through blackmail.
But that's what they don't understand is every room on that island had a camera. Everyone. And why would that be? Why would elites go there and have cameras? So it wasn't just a pedophilia island. It was an entrapment island. And now these people are controlled. So from Prince Andrew to Bill Clinton or whoever else is on that list, it was entrapment. Now they can control you. You do what we say, or we release these tapes of you banging these 14-year-olds.
Yeah.
Okay? That's what it was. It was about control. Yes, the pedophilia is disgusting and they should be tried. And whoever's on that list should go to prison or put to death forever. Okay? But I don't want people to get lost just on that list. Yes, those people are scumbags, but they were also entrapped. So we got to look a level above that and go, who was running the operation? And those people need to be put in a wood chipper. Well, those are the people controlling our lives. Those are the people making our lives miserable because they're controlling these people, key political figures, key Hollywood figures, to brainwash us, to control us, and to make our lives miserable. So whatever happens with this list, that is not the end of the story. Epstein Island wasn't the only place that this is happening. It's still happening. We don't know where.
They redacted so much stuff. Like I said, when the CIA is involved and stuff like that, we're only going to get bits and pieces. And trust me, if Trump was deeply involved with that, they'd let that out. You know, one thing about that island, the food was pretty good when I was. No. Just
I'm
kidding.
sure they had 5-star
I wasn't on that island.
For those type of people. And you want to know another thing? You know how we know Trump's not on that list? Because that shit would have been released 6 years ago.
It would have been released a long time ago.
6 years ago.
That would have been true. Yes.
That's how we know. And then you got actors like Mark Ruffalo and other people sharing AI generated images of him on the plane.
That's so
which is bullshit.
I would sue.
Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't actually. Maybe he's getting his ducks in a row. Maybe he's allowing a few more people to share that to put them all in a case.
I would sue.
But that's the thing is like, you know for a fact that Trump wasn't on that list or on those planes.
I didn't know they used the AI.
Yeah, they use AI images to fake it. Some female reporter did it. And then actors like Mark Ruffalo shared it on Twitter.
Took the bait, yeah. AI is dangerous, man. I don't know. AI can be good and it can be dangerous. They already say they're making robocalls from Biden and stuff like that. So AI, man.
Oh, I'm sure they are. I'm sure, and it'll get a lot of old people. Like you think about elder abuse.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's going to be a big problem. You guys watch after your grandparents and parents that are taking these calls from God knows who, because AI could regenerate our voices right now.
That's another thing, man. How politicians just sold us out to be harassed. Like, you ever get those calls, potential spam call? Who the hell gave you my phone number? That's harassment. Calling me at 5 a.m, talking about, your car and your warranty on your car has got 30 more days. I'm like, my car's 30 years old. It's been out for warranty. What the hell are you talking about?
Sir, we'd like to talk to you about your extended warranty.
Like, what extended warranty? You crazy?
Oh shit. But I want everyone to focus on that, is if that list ever comes out, which I think is partly distraction, part whatever it may be, the media still doesn't want to give it the attention that it deserves. We got to demand it. I think about Tammy Baldwin here, this supposedly feminist and the senator in our state. Like, where the hell is she being a voice for these young girls? What about all the Me Too movement people, all these young girls?
Yeah.
Where are you? Where are you representing and sticking up and marching in your vagina costumes for these girls that were on this island? Where are you at? Remember the parade during Trump?
Not the pink pussy hats. Jesus.
You remember? I think people forgot already. Hey, we remember your hairy costumes.
They sold out of those hats when I tried to order mine. So. Anyone out there got one of those hats? We can talk about it on Epstein Island.
Hey, or just check Poshmark or Etsy. I'm sure you can get one made.
I'm done.
That shit would look funny on you too.
I'm making a new trend. All the rappers be wearing the pussy hats.
Oh man, we digress.
What about immigration, man? What about immigration? Did we talk about immigration?
We can talk about immigration because we got a problem. We talked about it before in Chicago.
Yeah.
Actually, that's another opportunity because one of the black leaders in Chicago asked Trump to come visit.
Yeah, and the mayor, he had panic attacks and stuff like that. Too many immigrants coming in, and he's got a lot of pressure on him. New York, Chicago, they're all panicking.
New York's real bad, and that's another thing the news isn't paying attention to. I had another thing on my phone I saved as a graphic, but here it is. Tens of thousands of illegal Chinese migrants detained at U.S. border in major national security threat. Okay.
The news don't want you to know that.
No, they don't. So tens of thousands. You guys, we talked about this being a Trojan horse before. We have mostly military age males. These aren't the kids in cages that they were talking about during the Trump time, because again, that was the same shit that Obama was doing. But these are military age males. This is a Trojan horse. So a lot of people think, and especially a lot of conservatives think, that they're bringing them in to replace the black vote, to vote for Biden.
Most definitely.
Which that's probably the case. But what you're not also thinking is, what about when the Chinese government, which is a communist government, activates these Chinese migrants inside of our country to cause a cyber attack? Or actually, now they're buying
Chemical
guns.
warfare.
They're buying guns here illegally, because again, illegally, like where you can't buy a gun because you're a convicted felon. I can. I have to go to get checked by the FBI. However, where do people in Chicago in the hood get their guns?
From the streets, illegal guns, and they turn them on each other. That's why.
Hold up. Where are the immigrants getting moved into?
Straight up in the black neighborhoods. They're not going to Shorewood Hills or Arbor Hills. You know, they're not moving way out in these Cherry Valley and Middleton. They're moving right in the hood, and it's just dispersing the black. The blacks are just getting pushed out.
But where do the guns get sold?
In the hood.
In the hood. And where are the migrants going again?
The hood.
All right, just putting two and two together for people.
Yeah.
So when these Chinese immigrants, these African immigrants, these other military age males that could potentially, not, and I'm not saying all of them are bad. I'm not saying that. I'm saying there's a chance that we get that real innocent American lives are going to be raped, killed, whatever, by bad actors that we allowed into our country without being vetted. Yeah. And then what are you going to say, you bleeding heart liberals? What are you going to say?
It's a beautiful thing. If you're a legal immigrant, your whole history is erased. You could have, like, I'm a felon here for life, you know. If I was an immigrant and I came to America, I can have my credit erased, my background erased. This is the land of opportunity here. You know, you can't go to a different country. You can't even sneak into a different country. You can't even go to Canada with a DUI.
You can't. No, that's
crazy.
It's crazy to think about that we allow this. Let me ask you this. So you've been free from prison for how many years? 20?
20 plus.
20 plus years.
Yeah.
In all that time, and I know you haven't, but how easy would it have been for you to get a gun illegally?
I can get one tonight if I wanted to.
I just want people to hear this.
You can get a gun every day of the week in the hood. You can get a gun any day of the week in the ghetto.
It's not the gun. It's not the gun shows. It's not the legal stores selling guns. This is where the Democrats and the media
in the hood going to no damn gun show.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. A convicted felon or someone that wants to do harm, what he is saying, he could go find a gun in the hood tonight.
Yeah.
Okay? So what you gotta realize is, like, stop falling for the distractions that these media and this propagandist people are pushing on us, and realize that there are means that can happen right away. And so thankfully you did. And the reason you didn't is because you know you go to prison for life if you ever got caught with it. So the punishment is steep enough for you.
Yeah. Probably the best thing that ever happened to me, because if they were like, right now they're being so light on these gun laws, and it's almost like a inner city genocide, because first of all, they're not being hard enough on some of these gun crimes, illegal gun crimes. And, you know, a lot of these kids in the city, they get caught with a gun, they put an ankle bracelet on them, and they're right back in the video holding fucking assault rifles and all kind of military style guns, riding around in cars, making videos about it. And there's no interest for the police to get them, because it's a risk to their life, and there's no reward out of it. These kids are not going to go get a lawyer. They can't repossess anything from them but the gun. So it's just a lot of stuff that needs to be changed with, you know, you got to get tougher on these gun laws. And I'm a guy from the hood, and my tough law, I was charged federally, so they were tough on me. But all of my friends that they gave a slap on the wrist, they could care less about. There's no type of fear of getting caught with a gun. So
It's crazy. I just want people to have perspective on that. And the fact that we're being invaded is, you have to question the leadership in not just Wisconsin. We're in Wisconsin. I'm talking about the U.S., each of these individual states the mayors of New York, the mayors of Chicago that invited them to come originally, like, oh, we're open, because they were falling in line.
Yeah.
They're falling in line with their political overlords and the Democratic Party. And now they realize that it's an actual problem and their constituents are turning against them.
Be careful what you wish for. You may get it.
That's right. And so for the people in my neighborhood that are these upper middle class white people that think they know what they're talking about, these bleeding heart Democrats, like, you don't. And you got to realize that the potential danger is, and you're probably not going to realize it until someone rolls up in your neighborhood and shoots someone.
It's always their problem. It's so easy when it's their problem. When it's over there, you could care less. You're so passionate. Most of these liberals and stuff like that who are fighting for these open border laws, soon as a Hispanic move right next door to them, then their hypocrisy shows. Oh my God, did they vent these guys? This guy may have been a child molester. How did they let them move right next door to me? It's all fine and dandy when you live in your glass bubble. But yeah, that's how it's going. It's so easy when it's over there.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, a convicted child molester moves into your hood. Mm-hmm. And now you got a problem because a red dot popped up on your app.
Everyone wants it. Everyone wants it so easy. And like I always tell people, like these police haters, and I'm not saying all cops are good, but the people who are saying, why are you harassing that guy? And like, police have a job to do. If they came to me when I walked out of here right now, it may be inconvenient, but if they say, hey, you fit a description, we need your ID. A lot of people say, I didn't do anything, you can't touch me. And then this guy got your kid tied up somewhere and walked past the police. First thing they're going to say, why didn't the police do something about it? You can't police the police. And the police mess up sometimes. That's what courts are for. Go sue them. But you can't be telling the cops, don't touch me, get out of my face, I'm not rolling my window down. You may have some kid in the trunk. What if they just, okay, we're not going to check your ID and let that guy roll off? As a parent, you'll be the first thing you say is, why didn't you stop that guy?
Why didn't you do something?
Yeah, why did you stop that guy before he walked in that school?
Well,
because he looked suspicious.
I was afraid of your white liberal neighbor that was going to yell at me.
I'm afraid of you saying defund the police, so that's a whole nother can of worms.
Yep, it is. All right, so we'll wrap up here. I just want to bring us back full circle. We're lacking leadership, and what we need to do is not wait for it to come. No one's coming to save us. Not Trump. Trump's not coming to save us. Certainly no Democrat politicians coming to save us.
Yeah.
It is incumbent upon us, because let's say someone takes over. We still can't look to them for every answer. We're in the land of the free. At least allegedly, supposedly.
Yeah.
Stop calling this a democracy. It's a constitutional republic. That's another thing you guys need to look up and take some political science classes on.
Educate yourself too. Don't let the TV tell you what it can't. Research. Look at who's sponsoring some of these candidates and who's funding their campaigns, and look at their voting record, and you'll be surprised while you thinking Kamala Harris can get on TV right now and say defund the police when she was one of the main ones keeping nonviolent criminals locked up for the workforce and stuff like that.
Why? Because the prisons that are privately held were funding her campaigns.
And she has the audacity to say defund the police, and she's locked up more men in San Francisco than anyone ever in San Francisco. So and Joe Biden at the same time locked up more black men than anyone in the history of the United States, and gave out more prison time than anyone.
And who let out more black men than anyone?
The great Donald Trump with the First Step Act. Read about it.
First Step Act, but they don't want you to know about that either. Mm-hmm. So the leadership comes from us. And the biggest, I get asked this often, so I'll tell you all this publicly. It starts locally. It starts with you getting on a school board. It starts with you showing up to school board meetings. It starts with you showing up and actually expressing your voice to these local politicians that are also bought and paid for. And guess what? They get bought and paid for like $5,000, $20,000. The ones in Washington are getting millions. You already know what their net worths are. But these local ones are also getting paid off. And so you need to express your voice. You need to make your voices heard. And it happens on the local level, showing up to meetings, getting on a school board if you need to, getting involved in your lives, not just working all day long and then going home and spending time with your kids, expecting your teachers or their teachers to raise them for you. This is the problem. These are why we got Gen Z out here protesting for Palestine. They don't even know what the fuck they're protesting for.
A lot of people need to go to some of these school board meetings too, because you need to know what's going on. And it's so much stuff going on behind the scenes at these schools that parents just don't know unless their students come home, their kids come home and tell them about it. So you do need to get more involved with local stuff. And I'm gonna have to start. I don't have any. Well, my youngest daughters. I'm gonna have to start going to more school board meetings. But you should,
because you're the example. You fucked up early on. And have made something of your life since. Mm-hmm. You paid your debt to society and made yourself something since. So these kids need you. And I'm saying all of you that are listening, the kids need you too. You have to be personally excellent. You have to lead by example. You do that in your health. You do that in your finances. You do that in a number of different ways where you show up as a better human being and would be the example of what you want the next generation to be. Otherwise, you got a bunch of idiots, a bunch of evil people telling our kids how they should be. And then they show up in pink hair dressed as a fucking dog or cat asking for a litter box in the school.
That's true. That's so true. Yeah, and it starts, man, the man in the mirror. Be kind. Be kind to others. That's the number one thing. You don't have to be a doctor. You don't have to be a lawyer, but just be kind to others. And everything else should fall in place.
Amen to that. So with that being said, remember, Spartans, good and great are the enemies of possible. Lead like a Spartan today.